Guild Boss 5. Welcome back to another BitLegends video, fellas. So last week we killed Guild Boss 5, world first, hooray, excitement, yada yada. But more excitingly than that, if that's words that I can say, is we got the axe material and Divers with the quickness. With the quickness, he made the world first ancient axe weapon, which I'll be showing you guys in another video. That'll be a little bit of a teaser. I guess this will be a little bit of a teaser. Everybody knows the bonuses, but the skills, they are posted in the archive. If you want to see them now, I'll talk about it at length in the future. He is in Team 2. He's not in Team 1. He might be in Team 1 next week for Guild Boss 5. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what's going on. But anyways, you'll see a video of him. I'll show that stuff off in the future. But I'm kind of skipping through it right now because I know these videos can get super long. And here we go. So like I said, we killed Guild Boss 5 for the first time last week, and we were lucky enough to get the axe piece dropping. We have just opened the boss. About 1/3 of the roster has attacked, and hey, look, the boss is down about 1/3 on health, so pretty exciting. My team is basically the same. I swapped out one person, but the strategy will be the same. My gear is the same, and so on. We're going to preview everybody's gear, see what's going on. So I wanted offensive pet on him. I want offensive pet on him. I'm loving the low stamina. Remember, we had like 1350 stamina on everybody last week. Winless also with the low stamina. That's very exciting. I might put Gibby in the 4th slot because there is an attack furthest too. And then of course we have Vuk here. He is an NG. He's got so much speed that his Chime pet is going to help us a ton. So we got Chime on Winless and Vuk. I have no Raid 8 guns. I have no healing weapons in this. If it's a problem, I have the Clergy weapon that I will literally go and upgrade immediately and use it on my tank and put a bunch of speed on. But I think 2 Chimes, especially with Vuk having all that speed, is not going to be a problem. We're still going to use the NG buff and debuff, which I'll talk about when we get there. And of course, we're going to do some full launches and all that good stuff. So who knows? I think I had one screw up every attack or every attempt last week. So out of 3 attempts, I had various different screw ups. And so hopefully we can nail things down. My tank's turn rate is going to be the same. And we were having an issue where the boss was attacking immediately after my tank would go. So when my tank would do the debuff, instead of it lasting 2 turns, it was basically lasting 1 turn and making things a little bit more difficult. We are not going to do the full launch yet because we want to line up the buffs and the debuffs like we did last week. And also I want my bounty hunters to attack 6 times to get their damage boost talent to get that going. And it's a long enough fight that we can handle it. So that was the boss's attack. He makes the furthest 4 enemies reduced to 1 hit point. It does ignore shields. And we're going to really put those Chimes to the test. And hopefully the Chimes will heal everybody up. Speaking of Chimes, loving it. I'm loving it. But that's going to be the meta going forward. We're going to do all Slayer weapons unless people start making more axes, which we might be doing too. I'm excited, man. It's looking good. Let's hope I don't screw this up. So my tank's turn is coming soon. And I think what happened last time is I was supposed to buff somebody before my tank went around either turn 21 or turn 16. I don't remember. So it's like, do I buff Gibby now? Then my tank goes. I think I do it, man. I think I do it. I'm going in. This could be a big screw up. So we're going to use the buff skill. We're going to do it on Gibby. Gibby in the front slot. I think my tank goes next. Nope, I'm totally wrong. The turn rates are a little bit different than last time. And people, when their stamina went down, their speed also went up a little bit. So I'm actually going to do Gibby without the debuff. So hopefully this doesn't completely get absorbed, but I'm going for it. Absorb. Block. Let's see how big of a mistake that was. Block. Oh, that's the difficulty. And then the tank goes right after. How horrible. How horrible that is. Do I want to use it or hold it? I have 2 of them. I'm going to use it because I think I can get winless. I can use winless's full launch. I'm not going to use Vuk's. No, that's not Vuk. I'm not going to use Vash because I want to put the SA buff on Vash. So this is not going. And now he gets the attack. God, these turn rates are all over the freaking place. Because now I don't want to. Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a dry run, fellas. Okay. I think I can do. I popped it on 21, so I think I should be able to do it without getting blocked all over the place. So, okay, minor success. We got Winless's full launch with the debuff, so that was okay. He's so close to being full SP, but he's not. Sucks. And then now we have this. So I'm going to save his buff until my tank gets another debuff off, and then maybe we'll get Vash to go. But I wonder how much damage Gibby lost with the absorb on that one. That's pretty bad. I think our average damage, we were doing like 8.3 million per attempt. So anything higher than that will be progress. My guild as a whole, we haven't really jumped up a bunch of total stats. The only person that really went up, Bike went up a lot this past week, and Diver went up a ton with that new gun weapon. I think he gained like 800. It's pretty beefy upgrade. And I don't think he's done refining as well. Using the 1 SP attack on Vuk, so he gives SP to other people. I think I never want to do the 0 SP attack on Vuk, so that I'm always spending SP on him. What's also kind of nice is, even though I've screwed up a handful of times in the previous weeks, and including this attack, it's fairly forgiving, you know, at least based on how much damage our team is doing. So it just means more room for improvement, but I do believe we should have it on farm as long as everybody shows up and does manual instead of auto attacks. But hey, we'll learn, we'll figure it out. One of these days we'll get the attack turn rate all boiled down to consistency, but not too bad. Okay, gonna use a 1 SP on him so he gives SP to other people. At least I think that's how that works. Yeah, there it is, there's the proc. And now we're just waiting on the tank to go. The initiative bar, that little fuchsia bar under the health bar, is not. It's like it's not that it's not accurate. It's just like sometimes it can feel a little bit misleading. But hey, it's okay. We'll live and learn. It's also very fun to have content that's kind of like, you know, I guess high level would be the right word for it. Where it's like it's rewarding enough to make you want to manual it. The content's challenging enough that manualing makes some sense. Okay. So Vash is gonna attack soon, but I don't know if he's gonna get Vuk's buff in time. I'm wondering, do I skip this? Hey, Zally got a set drop. Do I do the debuff now, but then Vash is going to attack too soon? Or will I just skip Vash's attack, save the SP, and then Vuk can hit him with the buff? I think it's what's going to happen. If not, I'll just try to do better next turn. So Vash gets SP, the boss attacks. So we've got turn 15, which he should still be debuffed. Hopefully it'll come to Vuk soon. It is Vuk now. Vuk is going to buff Vashir in the middle. Okay, we did something correct. There we go. So he got both. So Gibby got the buff, but he didn't get the debuff. Vash got both. And then Winless, jumping on the chair right now, he got the debuff. So one screw up. I guess I'm par for the course on how many screw ups I do. But I mean, honestly, I'm not beating myself about this. I just like to call it out for my learning, for you guys learning, anybody else watching this, to try to do this better. But I think it's just going to come down to, you're just going to have a dry run because everybody's team is going to be that little bit different. You're going to have a dry run. You're going to try to figure it out. Then you're going to come back in, try to do better, probably do the same. But hey, I mean, I got to say, it's fun. Okay, now we gotta watch the boss. The boss can only attack the tank unless he has 4 SP. So we're chilling right now. My 2 chime strategy is working great. I actually wonder if we could do 1 chime as long as it is the speedy NG that has the chime. And I think that's really possible. Vuk has like 55% speed, and he's got like 3.4K speed. We can look at it after if anybody cares. So Vuk is super, super fast, and I think the fact that he's so fast is going to give the chime plenty of opportunities to chime in there, pun intended, and get those heals off. I just don't know if I want to risk, you know, if you get super unlucky RNG, which is absolutely possible, and the chime doesn't hit, what are you going to do? And so you're wasting 1 attempt, and if you're on a, you know, one of the more powerful teams in your guild, if you flop 1 attempt, you might flop the whole boss for everybody. So I think we're going to stick with the 2 chimes. I think doing no healing weapons is risky enough. I did have the backup plan. Since nobody in the guild needs... I'll do the mount attack. Since nobody in the guild needs the clergy weapons, this is kind of based off of Easy's idea. He's another tank in the guild. He grabbed a weapon. He's been playing around with it. He likes the theory craft. He's been testing it out just a little bit. I figured I'd grab the next one. And in case, let's say the team just needed more healing, I could put on the clergy weapon, taking off my Thunder Fury. I would upgrade it and max it out as only speed, which would get me a bigger turn rate. So that's more SP for my team and also a chance to actually use the heals. So that was my backup plan. So, you know, you never want to show up to a boss fight like this with complete pants down. Worst case scenario, I'd do an attack, it wouldn't work, I'd get the weapon, and then there you go. But it's pretty good. Other stuff I've been doing, so every week I have collected the damage numbers from the entire guild. I group all the damage numbers into the teams, so Team 1 competes with Team 1, Team 2 competes with Team 2, so you can see who has done the best each week in each team. I don't know what I would do, other than bragging rights, I don't know what I would do as far as like some sort of incentivizing, you know, how do I incentivize my guildies to really care about being top deeps? Fortunately, in a competitive guild, you're going to attract competitive players, so they're already competitive anyways. So I think that's kind of nice. Give the guys something to brag about. Because you know, this takes about an hour. 10 minutes per fight, 15 minutes per fight, so minimum 30 minutes, max 60 minutes. I'm asking 30 people in my guild to spend an hour plugging away on this thing until we have it on farm on auto. So I want it to kind of be rewarding. But anyways, other stuff. I'm probably not going to do a video. I stopped doing the video about the updates when the updates was announced, and instead I was showing the updates when the patch actually hits, and I'll show the things in game instead of doing the same video twice. I think I'm going to stick around and keep doing that. But I tell you what, I'm very excited. I'm very excited about the updates. The equipment rack to swap around is awesome. As a tank, if I put my PvP gear on at the same time while people are using me in Raid 9, some people die, especially if they don't have god tier DPS players on their team. Their battles are longer, the boss gets to get off all the different boss attacks. And so if I want to put on my Reflect PvP gear with an offensive pet, people die. So I haven't been doing war mode. I've been trying to sneak in my PvP regen at weird hours and stuff. With the equipment rack, maybe that will be less of an issue. Maybe players can choose which version of me to use or something. I don't know if the player rack is going to only be for you changing the builds of your character, or if people on your friends list can choose from your player rack. That will be super awesome, and we'll give feedback and suggestions like we always do to try to improve stuff. But either way, I think it might help. As far as I know right now, and I mean, I know this directly, it will not change your talents. It only will change your equipment. However, if I've told them to, a little heads up for this, that players will demand it. But if players do demand it, there's a chance maybe in the future, who knows, as soon as they can get the logic and everything working for it, that we might have an armory system, or the player rack system might change the talents as well. One thing that's always kind of been a situation in the game is that DPS characters have been so much stronger than tanks on solo content, because DPS characters do 1 billion times more damage than minions, even with the recent minion changes. And I think what's going to be a strategy for people pushing campaigns, I mean, this already exists, but also the new tower mode announcement, which I'm really excited for. I think there's a good chance that the best strategy for a tank is to swap to DPS to push as far as you can. That's not confirmed. I don't know. I haven't tested tower, so I don't know. I'll be with you guys and we'll be figuring it out together. But that might be the strategy. And speaking of swapping to DPS, I will always be a tank prime character. I know that's what people need me for, so that's what I will be. I got no problems with that. However, I have put out a soft requirement in my guild. All healers will make a DPS swap. All tanks will make a DPS swap. And if DPS characters that are, characters that are already DPS, if they can, I would like them to start building a tank swap for the future. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's coming. I think I should do this attack, but no, it's 3 random. I don't think he's going to get a chance to attack again. I'll just do the mount skill. Because I think by the time it comes around, the boss will be enraged. But the reason I want my tanks to have DPS swaps is because we don't know when, but I guarantee new guild bosses will come. It's already been talked about on the old Discord. Hey, we're on Frenzy, so auto. It's already been talked about long ago that more guild bosses would come over time. And we know that this dev team loves to put out content. So the only reasonable thing that we can do is to prepare for it. So I have asked my tank players, myself included, to, as they can, I don't have a foot up anybody's butt, but we're all competitive people, so they're going to do it anyways, to build DPS swaps so that we can swap to DPS. We can do a ton of damage, and that'll help us progress. You have to keep in mind, if your guild has 6 tanks, which is what you need for Guild Boss 5, and you have 2 healers, that is 8 players out of 30 players. So that's like 25% more damage if you get them on DPS. And you might say, well, hey, augments might come. We don't know when that's going to happen. It might be soon, it might not. I wouldn't expect it anytime soon, but I do think it's still something that's in our future. And the new minion buffs, they're nice, but it's not enough to come close to what a DPS player can do. Plus, a DPS player can just upgrade their minions as well. So before I close this window, I want you to see Vashir doing 1 million more than Gibby. So keep in mind, Vashir has lower stamina, which is really going to boost that damage. I want to show you guys the difference and how important that is. Also, Gibby did not have the SO system override debuff when he did his full launch. I want you guys to notice how important that can be as well. 1 absorb could be like 1 million damage from what we've seen before. So anywho, let's go over here. Let's look at the total. I think I gave you guys a good amount of rambling. Hey, we dropped a piece of loot. I'll show you guys what that is. And let's see how much I did in 1 attack. Okay, 10 million. Gibby and Vashir are attacking right now with me. We all did 10 million on our first attack. That is really good because my best attack last week was 10 million. I did like 8.3, something like 8.3 and then 10. So we all did 10 million this one attack, and I had that screw up. So I'm going to jump back in. If you want to see the next 2 attacks, check out the next video. In the future, I'll do the axe video, and then when the patch next week comes out, I'll talk about towers. I'll talk about Destiny armor. You can get a little sneak peek, some spoilers if you look at the archive channel talking about the Destiny armor. And they're also taking away, like I've suggested, they're taking away a lot of the requirement lines and talents. So I'll talk about that in a future video. As always, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.